What should I be saying no to that I've been saying yes to lately?
But if you don't have the awareness of what result something is getting you or how much of a result, how do you know what to cut out? How do you know what to eliminate? How do you know what to do less of? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth.
Oh, yeah.
We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. It was our live Meetup Monday on increasing your influence
To grow your impact.
Today, for episode number 573, what is on your to-don't list?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to let you do this one.
All right, so the pre-frame for this one, I was on the phone with a client this past Saturday. It was Saturday evening, actually. And basically, this person wants to be extraordinary, booked actually an extra call with me because she was feeling like she needed that next push, that next booster. So picture you're on Mario Kart and those boosters.
Shout out to
Mario Kart.
Isabelle Picard for that.
Yeah, I know. She made that reference. So hopefully these calls are boosters for her. But basically what we talked about was this. So I said everyone has a to-do list.
It's Jeff and me on the camera. I'm not trying to out-angle me.
But almost no one has a not to-do list, or in this case, a to-don't list. And so if you want to be extraordinary, you're going to have to do more than ordinary things, extraordinary. And having a to-do list is completely ordinary. That's like common. What's uncommon is having a give-up list, having a to-don't list, having a things I don't do list. And Matthew McConaughey actually talks about this a lot on his commencement address at University of Houston. And basically what he says is we don't start out in life saying, I know who I am. We start out in life finding out, I know who I am not. So here's a good analogy for anyone out there. Okay, if you're out there right now, think about your dating life, okay? Maybe you've dated a bunch of different people, but every single one of those experiences helped you understand what you do want and what you don't want, who you really are and who you really aren't, who you want to be with and who you don't want to be with. And I think that a lot of us fall in the trap of looking at all the things we're supposed to do that we want to get ourselves to do. I want to get myself to meditate. I want to get myself to the gym. When in reality, a lot of times what saying no to the stuff that you need to stop doing creates the space, or as Dave Meltzer would say, the void, to really fill in the stuff that you really do want to do.
How do you know? So say, I'm going to ask questions.
Okay.
I'm going to ask questions. If you don't know, I don't want to say how bad something is jeffing you, but if you don't have the awareness of what result something is getting you or how much of a result, how do you know what to cut out? How do you know what to eliminate? How do you know what to do less of?
I think we all know to some extent. I think you have to ask your intuition, though. So here's a question that will help you. Where am I chasing pleasure at the expense of fulfillment? That will reveal a lot of things. For me, my favorite show is Dr. House MD. And while I do enjoy that show and it's a guilty pleasure, it's definitely not as it doesn't help me become a more quality man to the extent that a great book would. And so lately I've been, doing only one episode when I do watch it, and instead I'm doing books, right? So where am I chasing pleasure at the expense of fulfillment? Food is a good example of this. Every single one of us is probably not, our diet's not as on point as it could be, and it never will be, but the question is how off are you in terms of the way you want to be versus the way you actually are behaving? And here's another great question. From 0 to 10, how aligned am I with my highest self? I asked Emilia this question on our walk yesterday, and she said a 9. And I said, okay, what would get you closer to a 10? That second question is going to give you all of the quote-unquote cheat codes of like where you want to be better. And basically, it will reveal to you, what should I be saying no to that I've been saying yes to lately? That's another question that will really reveal this.
When you say your best self, would you say aligned with your best self? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
How does somebody figure that out? Besides intuition, right? Because I know I should be eating better, for sure. I know that. I know I should be saving more money.
Okay.
Right? I know there's a million things I should be doing.
You feel that way?
That I should be saving more money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, health, wealth, in love.
Okay.
So I feel like I probably have maybe a better grasp than a lot of people. But how does somebody know?
So this will be a cool little exercise. So let's all close our eyes right now. If you're driving, don't do this.
Please don't.
Okay. I want you to picture looking down at yourself from 15 feet above you. So you see yourself sitting there, Kev?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My eyes
So-
are closed, so I can't tell when you're looking at me anymore.
So that's your silent observer. And my question, and this is an interesting thing, and it'll make sense in a second. So your brain is the command center, but the person who's the silent observer is the commander. Okay, so when I say raise my left hand, okay, the brain is firing a signal to raise my left hand, but who's the commander, right? So we know who the command center is. We don't know who the commander is. And so, like, if you're sitting there and your silent observer is looking down on Kevin, who's Kevin?
It's the $1 billion question.
That's your highest self.
But do you think yours is honed because you've practiced it more?
Probably.
So what is something like, what if somebody's watching or listening to this and they're thinking like, what, I don't know what that is. Like how do I know what my silent observer is actually observing?
Your silent observer is always observing you.
But how do we know what they're observing?
Right.
Going deep here.
Yeah, it's fire. So you have to ask that silent observer. So I'll do it with you.
Sure.
Okay, so the silent observer that was just looking down on Kevin in this episode, what is that highest self? That's your highest self, I believe. Okay? That highest self knows where you beat Jeffin.
But is it based on your goals?
It's based on your core aspirations, core values, and core beliefs.
So I think in my mind, I think it's pretty easy because I know I'm spending more. I didn't have to stop and get coffee today. That's $3, and actually I get a turbo shot, so it's probably like $4.
Okay.
That's $4 that I don't have to spend 3 times a week.
Yep.
I could definitely do better with meal prep.
Yep.
Taryn and I were supposed to check in yesterday. We didn't. That's on me.
Perfect.
So health, wealth, and love. I'm Jeffing those 3 things.
Keep going.
What else? I'm sure there's a million things in the business.
Okay. Like what? What is your highest self, your silent observer? And I ask this question to my clients all the time. There's been a silent observer watching you this whole week, like a camera on you. Where are you Jeffing? And they tell me. And then we shift their PPT to be more reflective of their highest self. Because there will always be a disconnect between your ideal self and your actual self.
Yeah.
Because your soul is infinite, but we have physical, mental, and emotional limitations. And so you'll never reach a point where you don't have Jeffings, but you will reach a point where they're less and less and less. So how much percentage can you get closer to Kevin's highest self? And a lot of people tell themselves a story that they are aligned when they're really not, and that's ego, I believe.
Okay. It's very interesting.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think, I don't know. I think it depends on I think for most people, it's probably goals. I think it's probably like the end goal that you have in your mind. So, okay, when it comes to a fitness show, for example, that's the analogy we always use: fitness, the gym, bodybuilding, whatever. When my highest self, when I was doing a bodybuilding prep, said, you don't need this extra 3 grains of rice because you don't need it. You don't need that extra scoop of peanut butter. You're not allowed that. So I wonder if that's how many people feel in terms of, I just think you and I have a very high level of clarity.
For sure.
And I think for me, it's easy to look. I know exactly where I'm screwing up in terms of, but I'm sure there's blind spots that I don't see, of course.
Like what?
I don't know. I'd have to ask you, where am I screwing up?
Right. So I think that this is interesting because you have a specific awareness of self, and I would argue that you have a higher self-awareness than most, but it's never 100%.
Right.
And so there are blind spots. And so Emilia and I, we do this funny thing now where we call it Business Jeff and Spiritual Fifi. So I'll ask her, what does Spiritual Fifi see for our future that I don't see yet? And she'll tell me all these things where it's like, oh, wow. And then she'll ask me, like, she was going to have a meeting with her business partner yesterday. She did. And before I left, she said, I want Business Jeff's perspective. And she asked, like, what do you think I should do here, here, and here? And I just hammered it with my intuition. Just, this is what I feel. Take with it what you want and then figure out where it aligns for you. I think in this episode, we wanted to talk about a to-don't list. And you asked me, how do you create a to-don't list? You kind of know. Okay. Let's say you do something Everyone out there right now, think of something you did that you're not proud of recently. Okay, I have one. Okay, that is not congruent with your highest self. You know how I know? Because you aren't proud of it. You aren't, it didn't fulfill you. I think things that are not fulfilling are an indicator that it is something you should work on doing less of. Things that are fulfilling is something you should work on doing more of. And that is a game that never ends. It's an infinite game.
What are things on your to-don't list?
Things on my to-don't list.
Yeah.
Drinking. Drinking alcohol for me, for sure. Porn is on my to-don't list. That's a non-negotiable. Emilia and I decided together in our relationship that we're not going to do that. And I made a promise to her. She made a promise to me. But more importantly, we made promises to ourselves. And since that moment, I've not touched it. What's another one?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this or listening to this, it's obvious that you want to get to the next level of your life. We can help you get there faster.
In 3 months from today, your life can look completely different. Here's how. Group coaching. Here's what you're going to get. So you're going to get bi-weekly calls with Kevin and myself. You're going to be on a team of 10 like-minded, growth-oriented individuals. You're also going to be in a WhatsApp chat with Kevin and I and the entire team, 24/7 access to chat. Also, you're going to get bi-weekly progress reports and peak performance tracking.
Guys, this is a great opportunity for those who can't afford one-on-one coaching with Alan and myself. We have helped dozens and dozens of people get to the next level at this point. Go to nextleveluniverse.com, click group coaching, or find the link in the show notes.
Talk to you soon. I would say exercising consistently. And no, that's not a to-don't list. A give-up list? I don't watch any media. I don't watch any news. I don't watch mass media much at all. Another to-don't list. I would say being unkind to others. Another to-don't list is lying for me. And I'm not perfect, just so everyone knows. I don't always reach these. Mm-hmm. I would say breaking promises I make to others is on my to-don't list, which is very hard, and that's why I have to be very careful of what promises I make. What else is something on my give-up list? I gave up fast food for a time, but I broke that one. I broke that one. I actually decided. I even told Emilia, I'm like, sweetheart, I know we made a pact. I don't want to do that one anymore. Yeah. I I do. I just want. I'm sorry. I want to eat McDonald's when I want to. You know, and I don't do it often, but like occasionally. What else is on my to-don't list? My give-up list. When I'm in the car, I don't listen to music. I listen to personal development. I would say this one was a really hard one for me. I don't stray from the mission often. And I don't know if this is easy to articulate, but like I don't hang out just to hang out anymore. Almost ever. And that was a conscious decision I made because I think we all have a certain level. I think we all have a spiritual knowing of what we're here for. And I think that we spend our whole life trying to get more and more clear on that. But for me, hanging out with a friend just to hang out is something that I've kind of relegated a little bit because I would much rather hang out with a friend and do something mission-driven. So, for example, if we were to do the Books for Babes initiative that Emilia and I did, and you and I and Taryn were to hang out and do that, that to me is a 10 out of 10 because we get to hang out with close friends who we love while also doing something that contributes to the world in a way that's deeply meaningful. I want to integrate more. So I think that non-integrated activities is probably on my to-don't list, but that's not very specific.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I don't know. Porn, for sure.
Right.
You guys have heard my struggles with porn in the past.
Not going to bars is on there for me.
I don't think I have as many as you. Genuinely.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really for Call of Duty unless I'm with Matt.
Yep.
Much.
House MD for me, any more than one episode is on my to-don't list at this point. Keep going. Let's keep going.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know that mine is specific in.
I have way more. I just couldn't think of them.
Yeah.
I genuinely, but I've done a lot of these. I've done a lot of give-up lists.
Yeah.
In the past. They've changed though. That's why this is hard for me to answer. For you, what should be on your give up list in order to, okay, I want you to think only highest self. This is an ideal list. You can throw this out if you want. You know what I mean? So like, if you're out there listening, let's create a give up list. What would you have to give up? So you want $1 billion net worth. You want to be the best father you can possibly be. You want to be the best podcaster and speaker possible. You want to change the world. You want to bring personal development to the masses. We did an episode on clarity. If you haven't listened to that, do that. Because if you don't have clarity on your core aspirations, core values, and core beliefs, you're not going to be able to create a give up list, at least not accurately.
Yeah.
So what should you be giving up in order to align with those aspirations?
I don't, maybe more R&R. But again, it's like I today, so we're recording on Monday. I get up at 4. I'm going to be in the studio till 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? 12, that's 16 hours.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Right? So like that's a 16-hour day. So when I go home, I'll watch, an hour of something and eat and then go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to balance, and I think I've done way better at balancing that.
Yeah.
But I like R&R more than you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to say.
I would argue, and this is fire, I would argue that, okay, you've heard of decision fatigue, okay? A lot of people think that technology makes our life easier. It actually makes it way harder because everything's an option. Here's what we're doing, really. If you're out there listening, we're actually limiting your options to give you more freedom. There's actual scientific studies that talk about how if you go to the grocery store and you're looking for spaghetti sauce, when there's 25 options, you have what's called decision fatigue and overwhelm. It actually makes us less happy when we have more options. Too little options and we're unhappy. We want more than one. But too many options, we get even more unhappy because we get decision fatigue. So, for example, Apple, they have 3 options for every product. That's on purpose because 3 is like the magic number, quote unquote, for happiness and decision making. But when you go to Amazon and you don't have any rails, you just want to shop just to shop. I think the other thing that I've given up is anything unintentional. So like, one thing I've given up is setting an alarm. I almost never set an alarm because I want to maximize sleep. Emilia and I went to bed on Saturday night at 11 p.m., and we didn't wake up until like 11 a.m. Now, granted, one of the clocks moved forward, so it was actually like 10, but 11 p.m. to 10, what is that, like 11 hours? We got so much sleep, and I know the week will be fire because of it.
Devil's advocate, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people can take that off the rails.
Oh, for sure,
You know
and
what I
overdo
mean?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
And you work really hard. I don't want people to, let's just, and I give Alan crap all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it must be nice.
Must be nice.
I've already been up for 7 hours.
And we do that on Saturdays on purpose. So Sunday's the only day where we fully sleep. And I sleep, for me, getting a full 8 hours, I guess not getting 8 hours is no longer on my list. Like, I always try to get 8 hours. Last night, I'll be honest, I got 7.5 hours, and that's like a big no for me.
If you were to say, like, what should be on somebody's PPT, what should be on somebody's to-do list every single day, we would come up with track your finances, weigh yourself, barring that you don't have a negative association with that or an eating disorder or something like that along those lines, relationship check-ins, meditation, blah, blah, blah. Is there a template for what should be on a to-don't list?
Anything that doesn't take you closer to your goals and core values.
Took the easy way out.
Yeah, so
Took the easy way out.
losing my temper is on my to-don't list. It's a core value now. Emotional regulation is a core value now. It's a standard that I've set. I never raise my voice to Emilia. I never do. And there have been times in the past where I raised my voice to my significant other or at them or with them or whatever, and I regretted it. You want to know what should be on your to-don't list? Here's the cheat code. What do you regret? And you have to actually feel it. Like, don't just say, no regrets. No. Like, actually, what do you actually regret? I mean, you told me a story right before this where you felt regret. You're like, I didn't have to do that, right? Whatever. We
remember.
all have those. And I think
I remember that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, that should be on your give up list. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect, though. Give yourself some compassion. Nobody's perfect. The question is, are you getting better?
And again, you're not perfect on the other side either. That's the thing. Like when it comes to tracking our habits, it wasn't 100% every day.
Exactly.
So that
You were
I think
close.
I was close. You jeffed me, honestly.
Yeah.
I guys, I was 100% for I think 13 or 12 or 13, 14 days in a row, and Alan decided to do the report on the day I did 93%. Forgot to meditate yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm Jeffin. This is fire.
It was good.
I enjoy this. I think what I'm going to try to do from now on is take a back seat if we're doing one of your frameworks and ask questions from the perspective of the listener. I think that's good.
I appreciate that. I try to do that on
Yeah,
stuff.
I think I can get better at that. I think for me, this is a breakthrough, and I'm going to share this vulnerably. I think for me, sometimes I'm afraid not to add value or be seen as the guy. So a little vulnerability here on a Wednesday.
Well, here's a reframe. What if you are the guy who's asking great questions that brings value to everybody?
That was my reframe.
Yeah,
my
that's
reframe
fine.
is I love asking questions, so it's like let me practice that instead of trying to pretend. And the other thing is too, I want to be honest. I don't have a to-don't list. I've never written things down that I shouldn't do. I just it's like I put my hand on a hot flame. It's like I probably shouldn't do that again. I don't necessarily write it down. So I wanted to switch the perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what we're doing for our next episode yet because we haven't written it down. So I assure you it will be valuable.
Unconditioning.
Oh, yes,
Remember?
unconditioning.
Yeah.
I said I was
In
gonna
order to be your best, you must uncondition your worst.
Yes. So we did an episode way back, I don't know how many episodes, about what you must unlearn to succeed. And it's going to be very similar to that. That was a really high hitter, and we got a lot of good feedback because we always talk about what we need to learn, not what we need to unlearn. We talk about how to condition ourselves, not how to uncondition. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we are doing free speeches. If you are a listener of the show, and we have never spoken to you or your group or your school or your corporation, we will come in, we will send a custom questionnaire out to your attendees, and we will show up and bring value. And it will be a completely custom to the answers speech.
Massive value.
Massive value.
Massive all the value. So group coaching is about to close. If you are listening to this, you already heard that in the mid-tro, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Next Level Nation.
Yeah, it might actually be closed, depending, because we're recording this
Wednesday, so it probably is.
It
Group
probably
2 is
is.
probably closed. But if you want to get on Group 3, reach out to Kevin, myself, or Amy. Group 3 will be a waiting list. We're not going to open this up for a little while because demand is not quite as high as it was for 1 and 2, obviously. But we have Group 1 and Group 2 fully closed probably at this point. If this is dropping Wednesday, 10 people. Group 3 will fill. There's no question. It's just a matter of time. So get on that waiting list ASAP because it'll be even longer to get on Group 4. Okay, Next Level Nation. So in Next Level Nation, man, the community is blowing up.
It's blowing up.
I posted
399 members. Who wants to be number 400?
I know. Who wants to be number 400? I posted about what the community is struggling with 7 days ago. There's 40 plus comments. It's just unbelievable. Get in there. There's nothing more important than getting on a winning team. That community will change your life. We're witnessing it. We're seeing it. And don't take our word for it. Take the team's word for it. Take the community's word for it. And get on that. nextleveluniverse.com. Click on Next Level Nation.
I think it's at the top. I think we're going to have a pop-up that comes up so you can click on it or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Or look it up on Facebook.
Yeah, just look up my Facebook. It's in the show notes also.
Also.
Everything's always in the show notes because we forget to say that.
Yeah, check that out.
Are we good here?
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we do not have fans. We have family. We love you. We appreciate you. And we will see you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.